Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living here in beautiful San Clemente. We're so glad you're here with us here in the sanctuary and here out there on Videoland. And we'd like you to join us this morning on our first sing-along song. For the beginning, for the month of May, we have Ricky Byers back with Holy, Holy Way. Here we go. 3, 4.
Here at the center, and happy Sunday, and welcome to our celebration service. We are a center that honors all paths to God, and so no matter what path you're on, you are welcome here today. And so we begin each Sunday service with the lighting of the flames of faith as our call to service. And we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples, all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call Spirit. Fundamental to this truth is the unifying nature of all religious thought and experience, which we honor here this morning. We light the candle for the Tao, honoring the universal path of harmony and equilibrium, the natural way. We light the candle for the shamanic traditions, honoring the beliefs and practices of all indigenous peoples, the way of primal spirituality. We light the candle for Hinduism, honoring the path of knowledge, action, and devotion. We light the candle for Judaism, honoring the ethical path of living by sacred law. We light the candle for all forms of Buddhism, honoring the Four Noble Truths and the path of compassion. We light the candle for all forms of Christianity, honoring the Christ consciousness as the path of love. We light the candle for Islam, honoring the path of compliance with the will of God as the highest calling. We light the candle for the universalistic religion of Baha'i, honoring the path of unity and peace. We light the candle for all forms of New Thought, honoring the metaphysical path of mental healing through the practice of universal spiritual principles. And as practitioner Rick Dale lights the last candle, let it represent the path that you are on today. And please join me in prayer. Let's know this truth together, that there is only that one love, that one life, present at every point, in every moment. Indeed, there is not a spot where God is not, for it is the animating force behind all of life, for it is life itself. And I know that each one of us here, each one of us there, everywhere, we are all its expression. We are one with it, we are one with each other. And I know that as we embrace the truth of ourselves, we go forth and through this service with that consciousness in our beings. And we are ready to receive. We are ready to receive the knowledge, the love, the inspiration by means of this time together. Through the music, through the message, through the prayers, through all of it, we are here receiving all of God's good. And I know that each one of us is lifted by means of this time together. And we are reminded of the truth of ourselves. And I give thanks for this. I let it be. And please join me in saying, and so it is. And now, just so you know, I'm on triple duty today, so I'm going to be moving back and forth here and there, everywhere. It's time for our affirmation, correct? All right, let's do it. Let's say it together with meaning, with passion, together. With unshakable confidence, I participate fully and freely in the adventure of life. Yay. So it is. Now our declaration of principles. I believe in God, the one creative intelligence, operating through the universe and operating throughout my entire being, now and always. I believe this perfect spirit operates upon a law of mind and creates my experience exactly according to my belief. I believe this perfect creative intelligence can be used by me and by every other person to produce health, abundance, and love in mind, body, and total life experience. I use it now, and I rejoice in it, and so it is.
And please welcome Karen Allen again, wearing a different hat as a singer, and Rick Dale joining her.
This is one of my favorite songs by Five for Fighting, and it is about this adventure called life. It's called 100 Years.
in between 10 and 20, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are.
I'm 22 for a moment, and he feels better than ever, and we're on fire, making our way back from Mars.
15, there's still time for you, time to buy and time to lose. 15,
There's never a wish better than this,
when you only got 100 years
to live.
I'm 33 for a moment. I'm still the man, but you see I'm a thing, a kid on the way, a family on my mind.
I'm 45 for a moment. The sea is high, and I'm heading into a crisis, chasing the years of my life.
15, there's still time for you, time to find, time to lose yourself within the morning star. 15, I'm alright with you. 15,
There's never a wish better than this,
when you only got
100 years to live. Time goes by, suddenly you're wise. Never blink of an eye. 67 is gone, the sun is getting high. We're moving on.
I'm 99 for a moment. I'm dying for just another moment, and I'm just dreaming, counting the ways to where you are. 15, there's still time for you. 22, I'm feeling too. 33, you're on your way. Every day's a
There's never a wish better than this,
when you only got 100 years to live.
Like I said, wearing too many hats today. I have the pleasure and the delight to introduce our speaker this morning. She's been with us through it all, and she is our rock. And we are so blessed by our fabulous speaker this morning, our very own Reverend Judy Chapman.
Problem. You know, I kind of got dizzy there for a moment, and I don't know whether it was because of my mask or because I was so excited to see you all. So I'm okay now. Just excited, I think. So first thing I'm going to do this morning is show you a short video of our spiritual leader of all the Centers for Spiritual Living, Dr. Edward Bayoun, and it's only about a minute and a half, so I want you to watch this.
Hello, I am Edward Fillion. The suggested theme for May for our study groups and centers is Holy, Holy Uprising. Teresa Fieberts in week 1 brings us This Adventure Called Life. Masando Hiraoka in week 2 introduces Revolutionary Love. Charlene Banks in week 3 talks about This Too Is God. Raymond Anderson in week 4, his topic is Say Their Names. And Sonny Cantrell Smith wraps up the month in week 5 with Boldly Living a New Story. So clearly this is an exciting and engaging month ahead of us, focused on matching our most profound truth and highest ideals with our words, thoughts, actions, and aspirations. It's about rising from what we have learned and are continuing to learn in Science of Mind and bringing that into the world. In that regard, it's an adventure. We'll learn that in week 1. It's an adventure because it includes some risk. We're going to take the chance to let our consciousness lead us into a more excellent way of being. I suppose you could say in that regard, there is no risk. Nothing to fear. Only the divine through us, as us, in us, responding and expressing. So perhaps the adventure for week 1 is to learn how to say yes to life. Yes to life as a whole and holy experience.
I missed my cue on that one. I thought he was done, but he was just skipping. Okay, well, our community, as a spiritual organization, are called to rise up this week, the Holy, Holy Uprising. And we are called to ever evolve towards a greater expression of good. That is why our monthly theme is called Holy, Holy Uprising. The first word in holy is W-H-O-L-L-Y, which means everything, the whole fullness of it all, the fullness, everything. It's holy here. The second holy is H-O-L-Y, which means to be exalted and to be prayerful and to be holy. So we have 2 different kinds of holies, and I love that we had our song, Holy, Holy, by Beckwith this morning. No, I'm sorry, Ricky Byers this morning, because I love that song and it always just really rises me up. Thank you so much. That was so good. So Holy, Holy Uprising means fully involved in the devotion and evolution of life. We are invited in our lives to show that and to express that in our centers and in our world. And we do that by living our life out loud. Out loud.
Yeah.
Yes. And joining in this adventure called life. Dr. Edwards said it's about rising up in consciousness and bringing that awareness into our world, bringing it in. Thich Nhat Hanh said this: enlightenment is when a wave realizes that it is the ocean. And Jalaluddin Rumi said, you are not a drop in the ocean, you are the entire ocean in a drop. Pretty much means the same thing, both of the quotes. That means that when we fully awaken to our true identity, we will understand what that means. We are not a piece of God. We are God in its entirety. We are all the joy, we are all the love, the compassion, the kindness, the understanding. We are all the qualities of God in its entirety within us. That's who we are. Every quality resides within us. So enlightenment is when we know that truth and we realize that we are pure spiritual beings. Pure spiritual beings. This adventure called life means to us, like Dr. Edwards said, we say yes. We say yes. When I saw my talk title today, I was thrilled because I knew there were so many stories and so many events and so many adventures and risks I could talk to you about that I was so excited. And I'm looking over here at my mom, and she's going, oh my God, she's not going to talk about that again, is she? Please, please. No, I won't, Mom. I'm going to keep some of it, I won't keep talk about all of it. But most of you know my history anyway. You know my ups and my downs. You know my joys and my sorrows. And I've always tried to be very transparent and very honest with each and every one of you. I'm not hiding anything. This Judy here is here as me because of all those events, all those expressions in the past. And I know it's all good because it truly is all God. A dear friend of mine is going through some very challenging times right now. And a few days ago, she said something to me, and I said, can I quote you? She said, yes. She said, the beauty of life is in living it all. Living it all, not just the good times, but the joys and the sorrows. Walter Starkey wrote the book, It's All God. And many, many years ago at Asilomar, I saw him do a talk. And then he had his books. It was right after he'd written his book. God, it's been 20 years, 15, 20 years ago. So I bought the book, and then I brought it back to our center, and I facilitated the class, I think probably 5 different times. And every time I facilitated that class, It's All God. I think, Patrick, you were my assistant in that one many times also. Every time I learned something new, something enlightening, and something that moved me forward on my spiritual path. You don't want to think it's all God, because some of the stuff is pretty yucky. And I think, no, if it's all God, that wouldn't have, God would never have done that. God would never have put me through what that was, or put my granddaughter through what she's going through. God wouldn't do that. But it's all God. It's all God. So no matter what's happening in our lives, no matter what's happening in our experience, we have to remember that it's all God. And if we don't like what's happening, we can change direction. Yay, there's an out. We can change our thought, we can change our actions, and move forward to create something new, something new. The word adventure comes to be associated with risk. I like risk. It's fun. But the Latin word means to arrive. To arrive. And I like that definition of it so much better. It's like, wow, here I am, God. I have arrived in my life. Yay. I'm here to live. I've arrived. Now, are you arriving in your life? Are you showing up? Are you living your life out loud? Or are you like that leaf that falls down on the creek, and as it floats along, it just goes wherever that water goes? No direction, just keeps floating down to the sea. We can be that too. Sometimes that's nice to do that and not have to worry about a thing. Just float along. That's what we have vacations for, I think. Yes. When we are talking about holy risks and to evolve, and how often we are taking those risks, or how often are we taking those risks or opportunities to let our spiritual magnificence shine through. How often are we doing that? Deepak Chopra says this is a participatory universe that depends for its very existence on human beings. He also said that every day our actions are on the cutting edge of evolution. The frontier where the mind is caught between caution and curiosity. So it is our responsibility and it's our joy to give direction to this power. That's what we're here to do, is this power that Ernest Holmes talked about, that's greater than anything and are available to all of us, and we can use it. So let's use it, let's do that. So we focus on what we want to create. And when we do that, the universe opens up and brings everything into us, gives us all the opportunities we need to move forward on our vision. My cousin, a couple months ago, said, you know, I would really like to be around my family, my birth family, and I really would like to move, but I have no idea how I can do that. And so I said, okay, well, I'll pray on that, you know. I said, you have to put your focus on what you want. Be sure what you want before you put your focus on it, because you'll probably get it. My mother always told me that. Watch what you wish for, Judy, because you're going to probably get it. So, so anyway, so that was a few months ago she did that, and a few days ago she told me, she said, you're not going to believe this. I'm going, yes, I am. I am going to believe this. She said, but it's amazing. Everything's just falling into place. Everything's happening. Everything's opening up. And I'm moving at the end of May. And I was just thrilled for her. Everything she wanted, she created. By her thoughts, by her attention, and by the love that she felt for that, by her desire. I do want to tell you a few little stories, not the funny ones, not the weird ones, but a few little stories about my adventures, about when I turned 50. So that was 24 years ago. And my daughter Carrie and her then boyfriend Brian were riding Harleys, and I was left at home, and I didn't like that. I thought, I'm not having any fun. I'm turning 50, and what's left? What's left for me to do? So I decided to take the motorcycle class from the police department. So I did, signed up for the class. I bought the leather boots. I bought the leather jacket. Yeah, and it was a good one. It was lavender, a lavender leather jacket. I bought the helmet. I even bought some leather pants so that in case I fell, I wouldn't hurt myself. Anyway, then I took the class for a week and learned on a little, I think it was a 175 or one Suzuki, and learned how to stop and go and all these things. But all along, of course, I wanted a Harley because that's what my daughter and her husband had. So I had all the garb, I had the focus, I put my intention on that. I want to do something exciting, I want to take a risk, I want to live my life out loud. So, I don't know, maybe it was like a couple weeks later after I finished the class, saw this Sportster Harley for sale with purple flames. It was said, you know, this is Judy's bike. So I bought it. And had so much fun. So then for a couple of years, we went on the Love Ride out of LA. I went on a couple different rides, and I rode to Palm Springs for a rally there. But in the year 2000, I went to the motorcycle rally in Sturgis, South Dakota in the year 2000. It was beyond words. It was spectacular. I saw every tattoo in the whole world. I've never seen so many tattoos in and this is 21 years ago. And, but we had our bikes shipped. I think Carrie and Brian took a motorhome and brought our bikes there. I flew. I didn't ride all the way across country. But when I got there, I rode. And this one day we rode through the Black Hills of South Dakota. So I was with Carrie and Brian and a couple other people that went with us, and we had a great time. And as I'm riding my motorcycle, my own motorcycle, by myself, I was laughing. I can remember this, it was so vivid. I was laughing and crying at the same time, screaming down the road, swaying down the mountain, saying, God, look at me now. What do you think of this expression of you? I was so excited, and it was so exhilarating. It was wonderful. So we're riding along, and I'm not a real seasoned rider, so my daughter and them, they went on ahead, and we came down this hill that had construction, and there was gravel all over the road. I had not ridden in gravel before, but I knew it was slippery. So they went on ahead, and out of sight. And so I'm going down this road very, very slow because I did not want to fall. And I'm creeping around the corners and creeping, and I hear these motorcycles behind me, and up pulls 4 Hell's Angels. And I just kind of looked at them, and I thought, oh boy, this is going to be fun. And they rode beside me, talked to me the whole way down the mountain, until I got all the way down the mountain, tipped their hand, and off they went. It was so fun. Anyway, that was my great risk-taking, exciting adventure. I just loved it. Our affirmation today, that Reverend Karen said, was spot on. With unshakable confidence, I participate fully and freely in the adventure of life. Having that ride and doing that ride and completing that ride in South Dakota, in the Black Hills, gave me so much confidence in riding, but in my life. It was a wonderful, exhilarating feeling. It gave me confidence. And I call that living out loud. Dr. Ernest Holmes says there is an inner urge in our minds to grow, to expand, and to break down the barriers of previous limitations, and to ever widen our experience. Ever widen our experience. This persistent urge is a divine influence, an irresistible force, and it constitutes the greatest impulse in human experience. The greatest impulse, this force. End of quote. The word adventure means to arrive. Here I am, God. I'm showing up, and I'm arriving in my life. The author Fred DeVito says, if it doesn't challenge you, it won't change you. So I say, if you don't take the risk, there's no evolution of mind or consciousness. If a situation is so normal that it offers you no challenge at all, it isn't able to change you in any way, shape, or form. You're stagnant. Challenges are what changes us. And they help us to grow and improve our lives. and grow us on our spiritual path also. As human beings, we grow and we thrive on challenges. Now, some people prefer just smaller challenges, and you know, there's no big or small in God, so that's fine too. What's the small challenge, you know? Hey, I made it through this day. Sometimes that's a huge challenge. Maybe not for you, but for me sometimes. But there's small challenges, but there's other people that until they surf that biggest wave, and I think Patrick sent me a picture of the wedge in Newport Beach this week. It was huge. You should have seen the surfers out there. It was just, it's spectacular. I love to watch the videos of surfing on YouTube. I mean, the courage to do stuff like that. So some people, they have to surf the biggest wave. They have to get the highest honor. Or they have to climb that highest mountain or ride that longest bike trail before they feel satisfied. So with a challenge comes change. And that's what we're here about. We're here about changing. Whether it's discovering a new ability that you have or trying something and realizing you don't have that ability. It's change and it's growth. Growth is expanding and growing in consciousness. That's what it is. And isn't that all what we want to do? Is to move forward in our life, to grow in love, grow in experience, grow in happiness. In 1995, Dr. Ernest Holmes, who is the founder of religious science and the author of the Science of Mind textbook, said, God is our adventure. God is our adventure. This journey involves an expanded awareness that in life there is no risk, no failure, no uncertainty, no nothing. I like that he said there's no risk, because he also says, with an awareness of oneness and faith and our active participation, the spiritual adventure unfolds through the divine urge that is inherently and eternally calling us into a greater yet to be. I have a friend that calls it the divine elbow. Get moving. You're getting, you know, if you're feeling twitchy, you know, you're getting the divine elbow to write that book, to sing that song, to write that screenplay, to take that class. It's moving you forward and telling you, let's get up and let's arrive. Let's arrive in our life. So we all have this divine urge within us. It is our divine inheritance to have this urge. So I moved on to my next big adventure in life after the motorcycle. And that was to take ministerial studies and training from Dr. Heather. And yes, that was that was a big adventure for sure. I became a minister in 2003. What challenges and what risks so many were involved. It was huge. I learned that I had to go deeper and deeper and deeper in the classes so that I could evolve, so that I could change, so I could be a holy uprising. And it's so exciting to learn about science, spirituality, and religion. It really is. I loved going to classes. I loved it. And then after that, I loved teaching the classes. It was epic to learn about myself and the spirit within me. It was wonderful. I evolved, and I'm still growing on this spiritual journey. I'm arriving in my life. I'm arriving. Last Sunday, Reverend Karen talked about stepping out and stepping up. She said that the first step was stepping out of our comfort zone. Oh, didn't like that either. Where we're in that comfort zone, we feel secure, we feel warm, we feel safe, comfortable. She said we have to step out of that. Because when if we stay there, there is no growth, no wisdom, no possibility to evolve if we stay in that zone. And then she said it was fear. And she said false evidence appearing real. But then she told us Darylyn's definition of fear, which I really, really like, which is feeling excited and ready. That is so good. And that's what I felt when I went into ministerial training, feeling excited and ready. When I finally took the motorcycle class so that I could ride a Harley, feeling excited and ready. I went through the fear. We go through the fear to the other side because we have faith and we know we are all connected and one. Science tells us today that the universe responds to us on how we feel and how we think. That we are creating our experience with our every thought and our every action. Sometimes we hold back from what's before us because we're afraid of failure or we're afraid of change. But the biggest risk of all is to not go there, because then you're staying the same and you're stagnant. Carl Jung said, where your fear is, there your task is. Think about what you're fearful of. Reverend Karen talked about being fearful last week of public speaking. And look at her now. You know, she moved right through that. Where your fear is, that's where your task is. We depend on our faith and our oneness with all of creation to move through what we're afraid of. Dr. Holmes said, in the midst of plenty, humanity lives in want because of fear. Because of fear. To overcome the fear is the greatest adventure of the mind of man. That's on page 104 in the textbook. Arriving at our personal awakening, that is the adventure called life. We have arrived. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Reverend Judy. And we're going to get the band back up here. And then we're going to have our beloved Allendale featuring Karen and Alan being very brave.
Indeed. Where your fear is, that's where your task is. Where my fear is, for those of you who know me well, know that my fear is a little bit in doing solos. So my task is to do this solo. So, yes. So here we go.
1, 2, 3, 2.
What would I do if I knew I could not fail? If I believed with the wind always fill up my sails.
Thank you. You can breathe now. So now it's time for our time to give back, to share our gifts, our tithes, our offerings. And so for those of you that are here, we have baskets placed on all over the room. And for those of you out there, you can mail in a check. You can go on the website and pay through PayPal. But we appreciate all that you give to our center. Yeah, thank you, thank you. And let's say our prosperity affirmation together. My offering is my acceptance of God as the source of my supply and symbolizes my faith in the abundant flow of this supply.
I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful for all that I have. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so blessed. I am so blessed. I am so grateful. I am so grateful. I am so
Thank you, Diane. That was beautiful. One of the things that Dr. Heather used to always say is that one of God's greatest gifts is you. So if you have a birthday in May, please stand. We're going to sing to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, happy birthday. Can you hear it? Happy birthday to you. And I want to acknowledge people who are in service today. We're going to start back in the sound booth. We have Mary Brogdon on our PowerPoint, Dave Friedman on the soundboard. Behind the camera right there, we have Paul Kaminsky. Thank you, Paul. And of course, our fabulous music and choir director, Diane King-Van on the keys, Ed Cusby on guitar, Bill Dixon on bass, and David Page on the drums. Yay! And of course,
Karen Allen and Rick Dale, our fabulous song leaders and soloists.
Thank you. And our practitioners in service today, Patrick Freeman, Marlene Kuckler, and Anita Baraldi are available after the service to help you see your truth. So if you'd like more good in your life, or maybe you'd like continuing good, just log on to Coffee and Conversation via Zoom, and you will be put into a private breakout room with one of these practitioners. This is our free gift to you on Sundays. And now we're dealing with the invitations.
Invitations, yes, we have invitations all over the place. Next week, our speaker is our interim minister, Reverend Kath DePalma. Her message is titled Revolutionary Love. You say you want a revolution? I invite you to join us in person and on Facebook Live to experience some of that revolutionary love. Today at noon after the service, I invite you to log on to Zoom for Conscious Connection. This is your opportunity to connect with your spiritual family and have a brief discussion about this adventure called life. On Wednesday mornings from 10:30 to 12:30, I invite you to our Book Club with Mary. The book under discussion right now is See No Stranger by Valerie Carr. The Zoom link is available on your weekly emails, and please see Mary Brogdon if you have any questions. Shifting Sands, our educational discussion group focusing on New Thought topics, continues to meet on Thursday mornings from 10:30 to 12:30 on Zoom. And this Friday evening, May 7th at 7 p.m., the Women's Circle is featuring a guest speaker, Gina Almgren, a metaphysical teacher, healer, and mentor coach. She will introduce to the group a 3,500-year-old technique she calls sanctuary meditation and gaining a clearer connection with spiritual guides to ensure that whatever guidance we receive is true and comes authentically from our higher self. And finally, mark your calendars for Sunday, May 16th. After the service, Reverend Kath will be providing us with a workshop that will help us move through the healing process, and more details will follow. Thank you.
I think we're at our closing song now. So please stand and sing with us.
After me. My mind is open to new ideas. Today I arrive in my life. I accept my good with joy. I love this adventure. And so it is.